Why did you do it, Daryl? Why did you drill the hole?
Too much pressure.
The 1980s were supposed to be about heroes who saved the day, stories that wrapped in a bow, and blockbusters that made the world feel safe again. But underneath the neon lights and synth pop, a different kind of cinema was bubbling up. Uglier, stranger, more dangerous. Some of these films questioned power. Others poked at deep fears about technology, war, class, and identity. Critics dismissed them. Censors cut them, and some theaters refused to screen them altogether. They weren't the biggest hits, but they were the ones that stuck. This is the story of 7 controversial 80s films they tried to erase from history. Videodrome, 1983. Max Wren is a Toronto TV exec who profits off softcore and trash TV until he stumbles on a pirate signal called Videodrome. It's a weaponized broadcast, causing tumors, hallucinations, and reality collapse. As Max investigates, he's drawn into a conspiracy linking media, government, and surveillance, all hiding behind a glasses company named Spectacular Optical. Videodrome blurs reality into propaganda and identity into programming. This film was banned or censored in several countries for scenes depicting government torture and corporate mind control. Some Eastern Bloc countries refused to distribute it entirely. Western censors demanded cuts. Its biggest offense? Suggesting democratic institutions were just cleaner versions of authoritarian ones. Released during Reagan's surveillance boom, it was treated like a threat. It barely earned $2 million. Critics called it perverse. But Cronenberg wasn't predicting the future. He was already living in it. Rambo, First Blood Part 2, 1985. Rambo is pulled from prison to revisit Vietnam, officially to confirm whether American POWs are still there. But what he finds doesn't match the orders. Instead of walking away, he returns as a mythic force, rescuing prisoners, toppling camps, and rewriting history with one man's warpath. The first film was haunted by PTSD and moral ambiguity. This sequel traded all of that for explosions, body counts, and a clear enemy. It gave American audiences what many of them wanted in the 80s, vengeance. But for other countries, it was something else entirely. India banned the film outright. Vietnam blocked it immediately. The Soviet Union labeled it dangerous propaganda. Even Sweden and West Germany debated restricting screening. Censors targeted its glorification of violence, its cartoonish portrayal of the Vietnam War, and its portrayal of Asians as faceless enemies. It was accused of jingoism, racism, and promoting a fantasy where American intervention is always righteous. Government boards claimed it risked inciting nationalist sentiment at a time when Cold War tensions were still running high. Still, the film made over $300 million because while some saw a lie, others saw redemption. Rambo gave America a victory in a war it had lost and did it with explosive precision. When he drew that bow, it wasn't justice he was aiming for, it was a do-over. And this time, the ending exploded on cue. Scanners, 1981. Scanners is remembered for one scene, a man's head exploding from psychic overload. But the rest of the film is slower, stranger. A corporate lab recruits a telepathic drifter to hunt down a rogue psychic named Revoke, who leads a growing underground of mind-warped revolutionaries. It's a film about invisible war. Governments and corporations clash not with bullets, but through brainwaves and chemical conditioning. The horror isn't just the violence. It's the idea that your own mind isn't yours anymore. The film was controversial for its graphic imagery and was censored in certain regions. The infamous head scene became a flashpoint for moral watchdogs, worried about media influence. Its themes of mind control and corporate conspiracy made it suspicious to the same institutions it critiqued. While not outright banned, it earned a place on lists of films too disturbing for public safety. Scanners earned $14 million on a $4 million budget and has quietly influenced everything from X-Men to Cyberpunk. They didn't know how to market it, but they absolutely knew they didn't want people thinking too hard about it. Akira, 1988. In Neo-Tokyo, after a catastrophic explosion, society limps forward under military rule. Tetsuo, a teenager exposed to government experimentation, gains psychic powers he can't control. His transformation turns personal trauma into citywide destruction. Akira is a brutal meditation on the collapse of authority, scientific, governmental, and even moral, peeling back the polished exterior of control to reveal a system that exploits the young, distorts the truth, and uses fear as both leash and weapon. Its animation doesn't rely on shortcuts or spectacle for spectacle's sake. Every frame, hand-drawn with obsessive detail, channels the chaos of collapsing cities and the grotesque beauty of psychic mutation into something that feels both mythic and terrifyingly real. Censors didn't take it lightly. It was banned or cut in countries nervous about youth rebellion or critical portrayals of government. Its depiction of a collapsing regime didn't sit well in Eastern or Western markets, especially during times of civil unrest. Despite this, it made $49 million globally and introduced anime to the world in one massive psychic scream. Akira asked hard questions about what happens when control breaks. For a while, some countries tried to mute it, but nothing that loud stays quiet forever. The Thing, 1982. In Antarctica, isolation breeds suspicion. A research team discovers an alien that imitates anything it touches. What follows isn't just horror, it's the collapse of social order. Everyone could be the monster. John Carpenter doesn't give answers, only dread. The thing isn't interested in understanding, it wants to survive. The practical effects, from tentacled torsos to heads crawling on spider legs, pushed the limits of 1980s cinema. That was the problem. In a post-ET world, this wasn't welcome. Critics called it nihilistic. Some theaters refused to screen it. British censors edited out entire sequences. In parts of Germany, it was banned. The ambiguous ending, two men sitting in the cold, neither sure if the other is human, didn't comfort anyone. It made only $19 million. Carpenter's masterpiece failed because it reflected a fear no one wanted to face, that the enemy isn't out there, it's already inside. Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, 1981. The world has crumbled. Fuel is the new gold. Max is a quiet drifter who helps a makeshift society fend off sadistic raiders in a wasteland where survival looks like savagery. The Road Warrior unfolds like a sunburned hallucination, where vehicles stitched together from rust and ruin clash across endless desert highways, and the only rule is survival by speed and force. In every screech and explosion, it redefined what action cinema could be, unpolished, relentless, and roaring with energy that felt more lived in than choreographed. But that same chaotic vision drew fire from censors in multiple countries, where authorities viewed its lawless setting and feral energy as more than fiction. Some believed it celebrated violence without consequence, while others feared it might glamorize rebellion against societal control or inspire unrest among audiences already disillusioned by authority. Even its look, spiked leather, gas masks, and mohawks, spooked censors into thinking it was revolutionary in the wrong way. It still made $23 million in the US, exploding into pop culture and reshaping the action genre. Max barely speaks, but the message is loud. When institutions collapse, survival doesn't wear a badge, it carries a wrench. Dirty Dancing, 1987. France's baby houseman falls for Johnny, a working-class dance instructor during a summer at a wealthy resort. But behind the sensual choreography is a story about class, rebellion, and a quiet act of defiance, helping a dancer recover from an illegal abortion. The film addresses emotionally charged themes with an honesty that's rare for its genre, charting a young woman's coming of age through emotional risk, bodily autonomy, and the quiet rebellion of choosing her own future instead of following what's expected. Although its message was sincere, it wasn't always welcome. Critics were dismissive, some viewing it as fluff disguised as drama, while conservative groups condemned its treatment of sexuality in the abortion subplot, accusing it of promoting values that clashed with traditional norms. Even the title was considered too risque. Instead, it made over $214 million. The lift scene became iconic, the soundtrack won an Oscar, and its message about dancing for yourself, not others, found generations of fans. They tried to corner Baby. Instead, she helped change the rules of the genre.